What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Tackle Tip Live. It's Tuesday night. It is 6 o'clock. I have a piece of tape stuck to my foot. So, let's get some of this stuff adjusted here. It's a little bit better. And let's do it live. Tonight, I want to talk MGM cull tags, for sure. Maybe we'll touch on some line again, answer questions. I am here to just answer questions, fill your knowledge. So let's let some people filter in, and hopefully tonight's a good show. So while I'm waiting for some people, I'm gonna hop out of the boat, or at least hop to the front of the boat or whatever, do some stuff, and wait for some people to show up. There's one. What's going on, Corbin? Mike Galt. Let's try to see who else on here. What's going on, Cliff? Cliff, any topics you'd like me to cover tonight for you? Anything specific going on? I know everything's starting to thaw. We're getting the snow tomorrow, supposedly, whatever. And should be ready to fish here in a couple of weeks. Getting your snow gear together. Hook all season gear works great. That's what I use. I don't know if I have to work or not. They haven't canceled work yet, but they canceled like all of our schedules of stuff to do. So, can you see how sharp that is? That is crazy. That's a VMC hook. That's here on this Menace jig. We're up to 6 people already. Chuck, how are you? Welcome back to another Tackle Tip Live. You should be leaving for the Chick soon. I just watched, speaking of the Chick, Zona Live with Wesley Strader. It was filmed last March. It's probably an old one. But Zona Live and Wesley Strader just did a show on Chickamauga and talked about like pre-spawn type fishing. So before you head down there, check that out. It was a good episode. Ed Pyland, how are you? I met Ed through some stuff with through the Nitro Bass Boats page. He also has a 2000 DC that he rebuilt. It's pretty sweet. It's like an orange and a baby blue color. It's pretty legit. He also makes carpet decals. So if you guys have boats and want to do carpet graphics, hit up Ed Pyland, and he'll definitely help you out. So pretty good rush here early on. Ed, do you have any fishing questions, particular things we can talk about? Anything any techniques that you fish have questions on? We can compare notes. Chuck does a lot of tournament fishing. He can help you out. Cliff does a lot of stuff around here in York. This is just an hour of communicating, guys. So just ask questions to each other, to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, and let's get a conversation going. That's all this is. If I get enough people going, I will definitely give some stuff away. This is the 4th time doing this. I'm ready to just mail some stuff to people. I got high seas line out my tushy. I got unopened net bait stuff. I got all sorts of stuff to give away. So share this with your friends. Let's get up around like 10, 15, 20 people consistent in a good conversation. I'll give some stuff away. Rigging soft baits, what are the best ways? All right, well, one, there's this Texas rigging. Let's see if this will fit on this. Well, it will. So, Cliff, conveniently, I have a bag of nut bait, and I have a Menace Craw, or Menace Baits original jig in my hand. So this is just a wide gap hook, okay? Wide gap. Worm hooks have like a straight shank, and then these are wide gap. So for like a jig, which a jig still has this is just those flexible jigs. So a jig still has this. So you just need to go, I go up to where the curve starts. It's right through the nose. Punch it through the center. And then just bring that down to the bottom side. Gotta get that on there straight here at the end, just like you would for your jig. And then the easiest way for me is just to line up where this is. And then there's two ways you can do it depending what your plastic is. You can either go directly into the plastic, or you can go through the plastic and then just tuck. Here, let me see. You can tuck the tip of the hook right here, and it kind of makes it weedless, but it's easier to penetrate. You just got to kind of make sure that it's straight. So then you just have a nice little, and that'll just be a nice little jig. You do the same thing with your swim baits or your swim jigs. And then worms, Cliff. Ed, I see your question. I'll get to it here in just 1 second. So then worms, wacky rigging, you just hook it right through the middle of the worm, which I can grab one of those. And then drop shotting, you can feed it or clip the nose. So let me grab a couple of worms and some hooks. We'll go over that quick. And let me grab one other thing here. Which will be alright, so here's a little collection of guys here. Alright, so Cliff, you obviously, I would hope, know, like if this is your wacky hook. I take it, this is a net bait salt lick. Most worms have like an unribbed. I just go back to the backside of that unribbed. And then there's your wacky. I don't use O-rings. One, just because I just would rather just go through the middle. It's quicker for me than playing with an O-ring tool. So that's your wacky rig. And then drop shots. This is a net bait contour worm. Okay, that's the net bait contour worm. So then drop shots, Cliff. I typically just take it right through the top. And that's all I do for my drop shots. You can feed it all the way up the shank. We'll just do that for now. And then it'll do something similar to this. This is obviously not a drop shot hook, but you'll get the idea. And then do that. So those are the two ways to rig a drop shot. And then for like a shaky head, here's just a little nip-8 finesse worm. I use the Mega Strike shaky head hook. Okay, I use it for a few reasons. One, you can use it for like a jig. You can use it as a shaky head. You can use it as a swim bait. You can do a whole bunch of different stuff with it. So for this particular one, there's a screw lock on it. So you just screw it onto there. And then I just do the same. Wherever I want it, I mark it here. And then just run it down the worm, so that way it stands up nice and straight. And then you can also run it right up the shank, and that's how you do it with the swim bait as well. Yep, you can do it right through the shaft clip for sure. I just prefer for my shaky or my drop shots just to go right through the nose. All right, Ed, water temps 52, muddy. What are you using? Or what I use is a red crankbait, river fishing. What would you use? Muddy water, you're good with your reds, your blacks, June bugs. Crankbait's good. Rattle trap gives you some more noise. Make sure you get shallow. When it gets real muddy, fish like to go shallow because they can't see underneath them, but they can see around them, and then they really don't have any fear from coming above them. So get as shallow as you can in the muddy water. And then just that, throw your reds, throw a jig around, flip a jig enough times it'll land in front of their face. At 52, it's a pre-spawn, still kind of cold, but they're definitely pushing. I'm trying to think what else to use. Spinner baits. Use a white and chartreuse spinnerbait up there in the mud. You can also use chartreuse square bills. This little guy, do I have it here? No, let me grab what worked really well in the mud last year here on Lake Redmond, which is an impoundment, but it should still work in the river system. And I plan on using it in the river system this year. So this little guy, which this is only the color, but you can get it in a Sturgill as well. I have it in the Curve 55 and the Quake 70. And that's going to be these darks. This is the 6th Sense Quake 70 rattle trap. And instead of beads, it's kind of like the 2-tap. It's very, very thud-like. And then this is your new to this year, your Curve 55, which runs down. It's kind of like KVD's new 1.5 deep, which runs right around like your 6 to 8 foot mark. And actually a square bill, but it's got a rounded thing that's got a little bead in there. Yes, Lake Redmond in Pennsylvania. When it gets muddy like it does in August, throw these. Get shallow and throw these. Clint, I assume you know Redmond well? Here's two more dark color. Little perch, Curve 55. And then that's the Swank, Swank 70, I think. I forget the exact word of that, but that's got a real deep thud in that. And then that's a little bigger profile. Yeah, we fish a lot of darker stuff around here. Like here's my springtime my springtime square bills. A lot of the reds, so you're not off with reds. If you're not getting caught, try to go a little bit shallower. I tried to get stripers last year, Clint, and it just didn't happen. So I'm good friends with, and sometimes he bounces in at here, Clayton Ampsler. Yeah. If you know Redmond, you know Clayton. He took my buddy Steve out, and they got on some stripers and some smallmouth last fall, and we tried to get out, and we fished at least 2 nights solid for stripers with just big old swim baits, but we didn't get any luck. So it is my mission this year to get on some stripers on a big, like 7.4 heavy stick, and really get on some stripers this year on Redmond. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And a lot of the smallmouth hang out with the stripers too, so just learning different animals in the fisheries, I think, will help me in long term with my bass fishing. So I'm looking forward to getting some stripers out of there. What else is on here? Did I miss any questions? I don't think so. So Clint, did I answer your question? And Ed, did I answer yours effectively? Thanks, man. Clint, do you fish Redmond a lot? If you can get a boat in. Yeah, no kidding. Redmond's being annoying right now. If not, there's stripers in Pincho. And there's stripers on the Chesapeake, so I'll just go down to the Chesapeake Bay. I keep playing with this little menace jig. You guys really need to check them out. menacebaits.com. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, their website. They're neat little jigs, quality jigs. You need to check them out. Let's see here. Any other topics of interest? If not, we can talk cull tags. It's getting tournament season here. Who all here has only thing I catch is channels. I don't fish it often. I usually go to Racetown for stripers. Yet to be to Racetown. I want to get the boat out there, but just haven't made the trip yet. Cull tags, guys. Best in the market. MGM. If you don't have a set and you fish tournaments, you need to get a set. I'm sure you've seen videos posted of the MGM cull tags. But it's not, it is a sales pitch, but it's not really. So fish conservation is huge for me, meaning making sure the fish go back alive. I've been fortunate in my career, or whatever you want to call this, to never have a fish die in my live wells. I've used puncture tags at the beginning, and then Pennsylvania basically outlawed puncture tags and went to non-puncture cull tags. So I've used a few different kinds of non-puncture cull tags, and for the majority of last year, I used AccuCull. So they were decent. A couple of downfalls, you couldn't really cull with them. They fell off some bigger fish or smaller fish. Like, they were real comfortable in a standard size. You couldn't really beam them. You couldn't do a lot of things with the AccuCulls. So MGM came along a few months ago, and I fell in love with these little things. So they're made by a guy named Mark Caro, which I'm sure you've seen on here. He may even pop in here tonight. Let's see if he's in here. He's not in here, but you need to check these out. So one, they float. Okay, there's a piece of foam in here, and this little piece of foam right here floats. So I have some videos, and there's videos all over his page. These get upright. They don't weigh the fish down. They don't tangle around each other. I mean, you can pick this whole stack up and just nothing's tangling. There's no big balls. There's no anything to really tangle up, so they can do whatever they want. Each one has a different colored top and a bead. So when they're in the live well, I have a very deep live well, and Rob Z20 has a very deep live well. So when we use these on the Potomac, which is the only time like I really use them in a tournament situation, you could see the fish swimming. I mean, not like, you couldn't even see the fish, but you could see these really well. And then you can see the beads if you use the scale, which I use the scale majority of the time to cull. So that's something that's very good that a lot of other companies don't have, is the ability to see what fish it is from the top of the water. Also, these do not let go, okay? You gotta really force your way on here. There's a little tooth, which I'm trying to get an angle here. There's a little tooth in there that really grabs onto the jaw. And then there's an O-ring, which if it breaks, you leave these in your live well, whatever. If it breaks, it's about 15 cents to replace that little band. Okay, the quality is insane. So as far as fish conservation goes, you have to go get yourself a set of these cull tags from MGM's Facebook page. So there's a little shout out to MGM. What color plastics would work in the muddy water? Blacks, black and blue. Pretty much my go-to is black. I'll use something lighter. Like if you ever catch a lot of bass in muddy water, they get white. Like the fish get white, and the bait fish get white. So in muddy water, when I'm fishing up shallow river systems, whatever, if I'm throwing a spinner bait or chatterbait, it's going to be white. Anything else I throw is going to be the darkest color I have in my box, whether it be black, black and blue, maybe black and red, something along those lines. River system, are you talking like shallow water all the way across? Like what kind of river system are you talking about? Because like the Potomac River is technically a river system, but you can fish it deeper with a lot of grass. Is there a lot of like rock? Like I'm not really sure how the Tennessee River is, but like Susquehanna River's shallow with a whole bunch of rock. Give me a little bit more info there, Ed, so I can answer your question better. How you doing, Billy Davis, if you're still in here? Joey Penny, Ricky Coe, how you guys doing? No rock or grass, lily pads when warmed up. If it's a river system, I'm sure somewhere there's rock under the water or whatever. There's probably also some sort of like trees or laydowns or whatever. So when water gets muddy, this is all times of year, but in the spring it comes into play as well. When water gets muddy, they want to get as shallow as they can or as protected as they can, and then as close to the cover as possible. So take a spinnerbait, a jig, a chatterbait, and like a little crankbait, and go up the bank. There you go, a bunch of trees. Go up the bank and flip and pitch your stuff as close to the structure as you physically can, and cast 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times at the same piece of structure from different angles as you work your way past it. If you fish enough stretches, like say you fish 100-yard stretch, nothing happens. You fish another 100-yard stretch, nothing happens. Try to back off a little bit. And while you're doing the first pass, keep an eye on your depth finder. You may see a rock or a tree or whatever underneath your boat. So when you're making your first pass, keep an eye on electronics. If you see something of interest, mark it. And then keep going, fish shallow. If nothing's really happening, then step out and then fish those waypoints you marked on your first pass and see if they're out a little bit deeper. That's really the only advice I have in like super muddy water, because getting too deep, like I know at 52 degrees, they're supposed to still be migrating in, and on spawning flats and things like that and transition points, and they're probably still on those points and flats, but I think they're going to push in more to the structure in the mud. So try that out and see how that works for you. And the lily pad should start popping up here in that temperature soon, because they'll bed on pad stems. So the pads usually come up pretty early. So flip those pad stems if they're starting to grow, because there's probably some hanging out up in the pad stems at 52. Your first wave, depending when it in, you might be able to catch some giants up in those pad stems. Cliff, are you still in here? Cliffy. I think so. Cliff, are you going to try to fish any tournaments this year, or just get out more, or what's your plan for this summer? There's the Bring a Friend series, Cliff, which I can get you information on. It's a buddy tournament that is a whole lot of fun. And then they fish 2 at Pinchot, 2 at Marburg, and then 1 at Redmond, as long as they're allowed on Redmond this year. So if you have a buddy who you can partner up with, I would suggest starting there, because there's a lot of fun. They're like $100 entry fee, so it's like $50 a person, whatever, on your team. Then you just show up and fish, which is a lot of fun. I've done at least one tournament of the trail every year for like the last 4 years, I think. And I might do one this year. I'm busy for a lot of them. But the second Marburg tournament, I'm free for. Is your boat over 20? Like, can you go fish Marburg? Ed Pylon sent a photo of a fish. I wonder. A 60. Okay. So Ed Pylon, I wonder if he's going to come back on here, just sent me a picture of him holding a fish. I'm not quite sure where he lives. He's kind of, so I highly doubt he's like catching him as we're talking. But don't go smaller. It's not worth your it's not worth the money because Marburg's not good enough of a lake to spend the money on a 20 at all. A buddy of mine has a Tiller 8 that I might try to somehow fasten to the back of my Nitro and run around with a Tiller 8, but it'll just be a gas-powered troll at that point trying to move this big boat. So I would keep your 60, not worry about Marburg, and fish the river and plan some trips down to the flats, Susquehanna Flats. You gotta fish deep and be really good with your electronics, usually. Depending when you go in the summer, you can catch them shallow, especially down towards Black Rock. But typically, anytime I'm there, it's more of a deeper bite for me over deep grass, and I have to use my electronics. So I would utilize that 60 and go to the upper Chesapeake, the Potomac, Susquehanna, and wherever else. I wouldn't put a 20 on your boat. Let's try to get this a little better angle so I can sit back and relax in these comfy Nitro seats. How's this go? There we go. I think I'm balding. Oh well. Any other questions, guys? Anything else? Who's ready for the snow? Who went to the outdoor show? I know there's not many of you guys left. Couple guys. Decent little showing today. Nothing too crazy. Still some time left for some people to show up. Let's see what else. Snowing's really asking questions. Let's go Chesapeake Bay early spring. Chesapeake Bay early spring is rattle traps. Bay fishing as in like saltwater, or Chesapeake Bay as in brackish bass fishing? I saw Ed, and yeah, like those colors are good. The one looked like a kind of like a jerk bait, kind of not. No, I don't do any salt. I would like to get out and like do like a guide trip somewhere, but I'm pretty busy throughout the year. I unfortunately don't have much time to get out on saltwater. My 3 weapons of choice this year on the Chesapeake are going to be this gold perch beauty, purple back, and then that's got more beads in it. The black beauty I already showed you, is more of a thud. And I got to see which, I thought they were both Quake 70s. I'll have to see the difference because they definitely had different beads. And then a normal perch, which is the same as this perch. So I don't know if this is a different model number or not. It has the green eyes and the thud on it. You can also get them with square bills. I like these little 6th square bills. These also work very well in the grass on the Potomac in the fall when the grass is dying. So early spring when it's kind of fresh, and then late fall when it's kind of dying, ripping square bills through the grass is always a good way to catch them. Any grass lake, square bills in the grass. And then shallow banks and rock and things like that is where you're going to use these. Cold water, which is now, you also want to use flat-sided square bills. So as you can see, there's a big difference between the flat-sided square bill and the rounded square bill, other than just the pure size of it. So the flat square bill is going to have a very tight wobble, and this one's going to be much bigger. So in the springtime, shad and perch, they're not real active, so they're just going to just kind of glide around, and that's where you're going to want your flat-sided square bills. And then the square bill, just like a rattle trap, that's one reason why the rattle trap works so well, is because it's smaller and it's flat. And then this has a real subtle bead in it. So I try to use a lot more flat-sided stuff in the spring. What's going on, Keisha? Is Carson watching? Pre-spawn, you can also get a little bit deeper. If you need to get more than 8, then these will reach out 10 to 12. 12 is about the deepest I'll go pre-spawn, as I'm trying to catch them from their wintering holes to their spawning flats. Going on, Carson. Carson goes to my high school where I grew up. He loves to fish, play football, wrestle, all the things that I did in that area growing up. And I'm hoping to get the boat up north and take him fishing this summer. So, how did his wrestling season go? Yeah, I get that. Manny Machado, ask him if he follows Manny Machado. I don't know if kids his age follow that stuff or not. Yes, of course, football. Northeast Pennsylvania's got bigger football than Texas. Duh. Especially in our school, state runner-ups. That was a fun, exciting season to follow. And get to go to the state championships and watch them playing that. It's exciting for the school. He should be, your answer, Keisha, should also be he's ready to go fishing. Does Carson have any questions when it comes to fishing? I'm more than happy to answer some of Carson's questions, or really anything, Carson. You have football, wrestling, baseball, school. Give it to me, Carson. I will answer whatever you need, buddy. Yeah, anything called ice fishing is too cold for me. It could be warm out, but I'm not going to stand on ice and fish in a hole. Not for me, man. I give you total props if you go ice fishing a lot, because not for me. It is an interesting thing, though, because people can drill like one little hole in the ice and then just sit there all day and catch fish. And then, like, we go out on these expensive bass boats and go all over the lake all summer long and cover all this water and barely catch anything. And then in the winter, these guys will sit there and just catch fish out of this little hole. It's crazy. Live fishing videos. Carson, I plan on doing some this year. I'm going to try to do Facebook Live. We got to see how that works out. But I'm inviting some different people on my boat. And we're going to do on the water live, like Facebook Live while on the water just fishing. And we'll just talk fishing. I'm probably going to have to get like a friend or two involved in that to like read the feed going on while I'm fishing. But I'm going to try very hard to do a couple of those this summer. All right, maybe I'll try ice fishing. But no lakes here are frozen. Anyway, so I'm going to try to do some Facebook Live videos. And then this summer I'm going to do a lot more filming with sponsor stuff. And I have a new sponsor in the works, which I cannot announce yet. But we're going to do a lot of product testing and a lot of advertising, marketing videos, and things like that together. So I'll have a lot more content out. I have a lot more content coming out this year. Zach, is that for ice fishing? And Carson, you'll have plenty of stuff to watch. And I'm hoping to get the boat up north and get on Lackawanna or Elk Lake or something, and get you out fishing. Maybe we'll do a Facebook Live with you. And Carson does this awesome thing, which I hope more people in the 4 people here see this. It's like called Carson Cares, I believe. Keisha, you can correct me. And he like goes to hospitals and helps people and like writes them cards and gives them gifts. He does all this stuff to like give back and help, which is awesome. So I would love to be able to get him on my channel and just introduce him to the world, because he is Karsins Helping Heart. There you go. So I believe Keisha has a Facebook page set up for that if you want to donate to stuff and help them out. Karsins Helping Heart is an awesome deal that this kid's doing, and would be more than happy to do anything I can to support Carson and his foundation. I don't know if it's an actual foundation yet. I imagine it is. Great cause, guys. So get on and check out Karsins Helping Heart and donate what you can and whatever. I'm definitely going to try to do more with that. Yep, 8 years old, huge heart. I mean, I've known Keisha and her family my entire life. Like, her dad coached my sister in T-ball. Like, I've known them forever and ever and ever. And I'm going to do everything I can to help out Carson and his foundation and whatever he needs at any time. They know that they can just ask, and I'm more than happy to help them out. How do I go about getting my sponsors? Man, we made it 4 episodes, Cliff. 4 before somebody asks how you get sponsored. I'm just kidding. So it's an interesting little game. You have guys out there that I pretty much classify as patch pirates. So what I mean by that is they'll go on, like, there's a new website, like National Pro Staff, nps.com or whatever it is, okay? And you can go online and you can legitimately just email these companies through like a form, basically. And then you put in your credentials, I own a fishing rod. It's what most people, the only credential they have is I own a fishing rod. So then the people are like, that's awesome. You have a YouTube channel and you own a fishing rod. Here's 15% off a bunch of stuff. They're still making a killing on you, and really all they're doing is making money off of you. And then you advertise their logo on your boat, your truck, a jersey. They do all this stuff. Like, you do all this stuff for them, and all they're doing is giving you like 15% off some kind of product, okay? So when I first got into the tournament side of things, I mean, tournament bass fishing is expensive. And I don't necessarily blame patch pirates or just young or whatever anglers looking for a discount. I don't necessarily blame them. I mean, I have at least one that, I mean, I have the sponsor, Pro Staff. I don't call that a sponsorship. That's Pro Staff. So Pro Staff is promotional staff. So the products they have are expensive, but they're expensive anywhere in the industry. So that would be about the only logo that I wear, pretty much strictly just to get a discount. Is there opportunities, maybe if I promote them good enough or grow through the ranks, to get free stuff or get paid from them? Possibly. I don't know. I don't even know how long I'll keep them, but the product they make is stuff I need, and I get it cheaper than I get it anywhere else. So I wear their logo just to save money. Then you have companies like MGM, the new company I'm working with that I cannot announce yet, where I consider them sponsorships. So MGM, I do a lot of promotion for them. I'm an admin on their page. I help build their Facebook page. I do product development for other things like cull beam and different things like that we do for them. I sell their stuff at shows. Like, Mark Caro's coming down, so if anyone's in the New York area next weekend, him and I are going to be at Hog Head for their open house. So we'll be over there selling tags and talking to local guys over there. He's out in Ohio. We're doing stuff online. So I get compensated financially, plus product, plus I sell their stuff for MGM. So it's a whole contract with that. So that's a sponsorship. Him, I met online, and we just got to talking. And I mean, as a communication major with the management background and whatever else, it kind of just fit. I was able to give back. That's the biggest thing. Sponsorships are about me giving a company 100 times more than what they do for me, but like it's mutual in what they're doing. So like High Seas, I signed with them 3 years ago now. So I've been with High Seas Fishing Line for 3 years. Before I signed with High Seas, all I used was High Seas Fishing Line. So I already knew the product. And then I went to every Susquehanna fishing tackle show that they have, their Cabin Fever sale, their Bass Fest, like everything that Susquehanna Fishing Tackle did, I was there, mostly just to learn and do the seminars and whatever else. So the High Seas reps were there, and after casual talking, probably for like a year and a half or 2 years, I was like, what kind of pro staff stuff do you do? So the first year was like a pro staff deal. It was a pretty good discount on stuff that I was using anyways. And so I took advantage of a discount for a year and a half. And then this past year, after doing a bunch of stuff with them, we stepped up to another level of the deal where I don't pay for line. So it's just like an allowance. They don't pay me, but I'm going to consider that a transition more into a sponsorship. So Cliff, a lot of it's networking. A lot of it is just working hard for the person. A lot of it's having a page like this with over 1,000 viewers, taking an hour out of my week every week to do Tackle Tip live and talk about product and things like that. Going to shows, getting yourself out there. That's how I met this new company. I just signed with Enigma Fishing Rods 2 weeks after signing with Enigma. And the only reason I signed with Enigma is because Akuma cut everyone nationwide. So I lose Akuma, sign with Enigma. 2 weeks later, I'm working the Great American Outdoor Show for Enigma. And then another company, which I didn't even know that they were a company. I was just doing my job for Enigma. We struck up a conversation. They were impressed with the conversation we were having, gave me some baits, and said, look these over, take a week or two, and think about it. And we exchanged phone numbers, and we've talked back and forth, and we're nailing out all the details moving forward. So, Cliff, just networking, being professional as possible, is how you grow from being a weekend guy to a pro staff guy to a sponsored guy. So I hope that answered your question, Cliff. Also, you need to know the product. Like, I fished net bait stuff way before I ever signed with NetBait. And then the opportunity came along to work with NetBait, and I've been with them for like 4 years. So, but like, I'll talk about these crankbaits till my teeth turn blue. These 6 cents baits, I throw the absolute crap out of them. Zero affiliation. Zero. No discounts. No anything. They don't know me from the next guy who orders something online. But I truly 100% believe in this product and everything they make. So I'm going to represent it as far as just telling you guys that this stuff works. And if that turns into a deal in the future, just because I know the product, that's why that turned into a deal. Is because I know the product, I know the company, and I can sell something I know. It's hard to sell a product that you don't know anything about and that you're not passionate about. And selling stuff, going to shows, and selling product is how you make your money in this game and how you get companies to represent you. So there's a difference a little bit of how I got into working with different companies and the difference between like a pro staff versus a sponsorship. So I'm in transition, like I said, on a couple of deals between just a discount to actually working closer with the company. Who else is on here? I saw a couple of people jump on. Hey, Rick, I don't know if you're still on here or not. I was kind of on a rambling feed there, little rambling deal there. Devin stopped in. He fishes Pincho tournaments a lot. Jeremy Stair does the Bring Friends. Cliff, if you're interested in more details as well, you can jump on with Jeremy. He also does the Tuesday night lunkers and stuff. Rick fishes the Tuesday night lunkers and a lot of the opens. So I hope that answered the question. So 6:52, about 8 more minutes, unless a bunch of people just storm on and start asking questions and strike up a conversation. There's Mark right there. What's going on, buddy? You're late, Mark. I just did an entire thing of why everyone needs to buy these, and you weren't here to witness it. You weren't, so you missed out. You missed out. But March 9th, 2 Saturdays. 2 Saturdays from now, Mark's coming in from New York with a bunch of tags. We're going to set up a little booth there at Hoghead with Bernie and Rick and Scott and whoever else is at that open house. I haven't even looked into it yet. I'll be there from when it opens up till about 1:30, 2 o'clock. I have a work engagement that evening. But Mark and I will be there talking conservation and cold tags and fishing, and it'll be perfect timing. It's like 3 weeks before the Pincho opens. The borderline opens, so come out, introduce yourself to Mark, come say hi to me. It'll be a good open house over there at Hoghead Marine, so make sure you come out and see us. Coming back from Seminole that week. You got your fishing locations, Mark? The date on the open house at Hoghead is March 9th. March 9, Cliff. I believe it starts at 8 or 9. Rick, you got to get yourself some MGM tags, man. Come down to the show, pick yourself up some. You're winning all these tournaments. You got to keep those lunkers of yours tied up nice and strong, man. You definitely got to come down and get some. We're hoping, in reality, after the show, we're going to see what kind of feedback we get from everybody. We're hoping that we can get them stocked at Hoghead. If they don't stock them at Hoghead, I plan to have them stocked. Mark and I still got to work out the details on doing that, but I'm hoping to have them stocked in my truck/boat. So for fishing tournaments, the lunkers or whatever, and say Rick picks them up and I have some, and I know Ed Caudell bought some. So they're going to be around the lakes this summer. If you're interested in getting a set, either reach out to me if you just need one dropped off short notice. Reach out to MGM Cull Tags online on Facebook and get with Mark and get them ordered up, or hopefully we can get them stocked at Hoghead so you can just swing in there and pick them up. But we're a long way from that. First, we got to get through the show and show them to Rick and see how we're going to go from there. But that's the plan, hopefully, is get them stocked in some stores around here, at least Hoghead. So, Rick, are you all set for the opens? Got your jerk baits? You're probably going to go sit on the swimming hole. I have no luck there. I hope you smash them over there, though. Who else is on here? About 3 minutes, guys. 3 minutes. I'm hanging a transducer and heading home for Flyers Tampa. Should be a pretty good game tonight, I hope. I hope Tampa doesn't just smoke them, but should be a pretty good hockey game tonight. Saturday, I'll be at the Outdoor Series. Flyers Pens, Lincoln Financial Field. Man, Mark, we all have cabin fever. Coming up here soon is the Cabin Fever Sale. Susquehanna Fishing Tackle. Be a lot of tough guys to beat. Yeah, it should fish good, though. I think there's going to be a better turnout and better bags fishing Pincho other than Marburg in the spring. At least I always have more luck on Pincho than Marburg in the spring. Damien and I last year, I put 3 in the boat for 12.9, and he put another one for like 5.5. So we would have had close to 18 pounds on 4 fish last year, which would have been a solid bag for the day of, that was the day of Rick's Open, but we had a club tournament, so we were fishing the club tournament. Rick, I believe that's the one that you slept in for. So you went and fished, but not the tournament because you didn't make it to the ramp in time for the tournament. It's pretty epic. Do I have any of my own fishing shirts? I do not. Not at this point. I'm playing with something. I dropped it. Shirts itself, I don't have any shirts or anything yet, mostly because at this point, I don't really know if I want to just sell a bunch of shirts with my name on it. I'm not really sure. I may try to brand something underneath my own name and try to get something going, possibly. But But at this point, no, I don't have any shirts or anything like that. Finger legs, I know I'm heading north. Rick says yes. I'm assuming that that's the finger legs question. If Car wants a MGM hoodie, we have MGM hoodies and hats and stuff you can get from Mark. But as far as my personal brand, no. So guys, 7 o'clock. It's been a solid hour. It has been fun. Next week, same time, same place, Facebook Live, 6 o'clock, Tackle Tip Live. And there's no other things coming in here real quick. I'll hang out for like another minute, see if there's any other comments, questions, whatever. But I am getting ready to roll. So think of your questions for next week. Tell your friends to get online. If you have more questions, I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but you can comment on this post once I post it here just in a few minutes. Keisha, if you have a Facebook page you want to put Carson's page on there, I would love you to. I will share and do whatever from there. We'll support Karson and his foundation. Hook up with Mark with any other questions for MGM Cull tags. And other than that, I'm out. Have a good night, Rick.